as soon as I can type some numbers. Hey everybody. 1 second here as I figure out my electronics. I'm not very good at doing. There we go. Hey everybody. Let's see here. I'm just checking all of my thingamajigs. Alright, everything looks good. And just checking out, making sure. There we go. I got the right videos playing. And I'm watching to see how this opening works. Alright. Huh. Weird. I've got an opening that's supposed to be playing right now. In fact, I have a whole video that's supposed to be playing right now. But it does not appear to be playing. Weird. This is really weird. Oh, there we go. Alright. Sorry about that. I am trying a couple different electronic thingamajigs here to make sure that the video is playing. So, hey everybody. My name is John. I'm with FNP Wargamers. You probably already know that, but if you're new to the channel, welcome. Do me a big favor and hit that follow button and the subscribe button. It really helps us out as we are growing our Twitch community as we're porting people over from YouTube, which is primarily where we've been streaming on, but because of some stuff going on with YouTube and their new license agreements and basically the way that they are clamping down on content creators, etc. We're over here on Twitch because it's a lot easier for us to stream and get a much broader audience. So today, it's Wednesday, and usually Wednesday at 7 p.m. I want to do a painting video, just a random painting video, and try out some techniques and share it with you all. Why? What the hell? So I'm watching my video, but for some reason it keeps... What the heck, FNP? Not FNP, but is this not streaming? Let's see here. What is going on? Sorry, I'm really trying to watch on my phone just to make sure that the show is live and working correctly. And it looks like it's working correctly. Okay. We'll see if that keeps going. Alright, sorry guys. Anyway, so Wednesdays we do show at 7 p.m. where, at least right now, until everybody else is done with all their projects at work and school and everything, when Ski and TJ and Jonathan, Ben, they can all jump on. You guys are still putting up with me. They are coming back. Jonathan's been doing a couple of videos where he's been playing video games like Just Cause, I think Just Cause 4, and what's it called? Fallout 76, or might have been Fallout 4. I'm not sure which it was that he's playing. So what I'm going to be doing on every Wednesday, as I was just talking about, is doing a painting video. But it's also an excellent opportunity for me to do a quick highlight video. I'm going to spend less than 10 minutes on this because I want to get to work on these World Eaters. There are Horus Heresy Marines. There are the Butchers, I think that's what they're called. I'm doing a quick commission for a friend. It's not going to be like Golden Demon winning, but I'm going to be using a lot of contrast paints and seeing how fast I can get through about 22 models. And probably the last time I do a commission, because I really want to get to work, and I'll show you guys in a minute. I've got a whole bunch of project stuff here that's just waiting for me. But as my friends say, my over generosity to helping people out when they need it or doing a quick paint job or whatnot gets the better of me, because after all, I like to paint. I like to hobby, and I like to help people out. Yeah, I mean, I might be a jerk a lot of times, but I still like to help out my friends and stuff. So let's talk about what dropped today. If you've not been paying attention, I've been talking about for the past couple weeks the what characters are probably going to be showing up in what books for the Codex Space Marine supplements. What can we expect? What's our predictions on who's going to be the Rubicon, Primaris Marines? And we've pretty much hit the mark every time. We already knew about the Iron Father, Pharaohs. We knew that he was coming. So we've seen his model way back at Adepticon, I believe, or right before Adepticon, or somewhere around that time. Yeah, I think it was Adepticon. So we known about that model for months. We didn't know who it was. And if you've also been paying attention, I've been linking everything that's been happening in the I don't know why I'm pointing over here, but everything that's been getting revealed in the Iron Hands Codex supplement, the sneak peeks we've been getting, matches the Clan Rauken book that came out in 2013, 6th edition, a book that I used heavily when I had my Death Watch army before they had their own codex. That was the army for me to play, even though I am a big fan of Imperial Fists, mainly Imperial Fists and a Horus Heresy era. I like that time period. And then like the Excoriators, which are a chapter that are a successor chapter, a second founding, etc., etc. Anyways, so there's a lot of similarities in the relics, chapter tactics, and named characters in the Iron Hand supplement, the sneak peeks that we've been seeing that matched the 6th edition book in 2013. So when I started kind of seeing those previews happen, I immediately grabbed my Sentinels of Terra book, which is the 6th edition version of the Imperial Fist supplement that came out. They're the only two chapter supplements that came out at that time. I thought there was more, but it ended up being, I was wrong. It was end up a bunch of special edition covers that were 6th or 7th edition. But these two were full-on supplements. Very similar to what the what do they call the not the Corsairs, the Black Legion. They got theirs. Gazkal got his, and I think there was the Homunculus Covens got theirs as well. So why I bring this up, and I've been talking about, kind of hitting around about this for the past couple of weeks, about the character of Tor Garadon, probably going to be coming forward, or is a little bit more wish listing. And then Sunday, as I was talking about the Sentinels of Terra book, we started going through that, and I showed you guys a whole bunch of images of relics and of the chapter tactic, or not chapter tactics, but some chapter tactics, but warlord traits, and of course we talked about Tor Garadon, who was a sergeant. You could upgrade him in 6th edition to become a captain because he had taken over the 3rd company. You paid a little point increase, didn't get all the tricks that a regular captain got. He didn't get his Iron Halo, but it was essentially it was just turning a guy into a captain, but with the exception of the Iron Halo. I don't know why you'd want to, whatever, fluff reasons, narrative reasons, whatever. Anyways, so he was my prediction. I was thinking, oh, you know what? I think it would be really cool if Lysander did it, but I didn't think that Lysander would become a Primaris Marine, mainly because he walks around that Terminator armor, though it'd be really cool if he got the Gravis 10 armor and got a Thunderhammer Storm Shield. That'd be a really cool thing, make him a Primaris, but I didn't really think. I put my money on Garadon. And then we talked about that on Tuesday, yesterday, when I was kind of explaining. All of a sudden, everybody was talking about Tor Garadon after I had talked about it. And I'm not saying I was the source that everybody pulled from. There's definitely an easy opportunity for other people to figure this out too. So, and then what do we get today? Well, we got 2 new characters, and taking a look at the screen, I'm going to just kind of scroll through. If you have not gone to the Warhammer community page, please go to it. I'm not going to play the videos because I want to hurry up and get to painting, even though they're like about a 2-minute videos. These are the two models. Now, yesterday, and I think it was yesterday, I covered the rumors of Adrax Agatone as going to be the third company captain for the Salamanders, and you've probably seen his rules popping up online, and sure enough, what we get but Agatone himself. So pretty happy about that, and that probably confirms his rules. That he has Dracus. It's a flamer, and that's what he's got in his left hand there. If you're looking at the image, the Malus Noctum, which is essentially just a Thunderhammer. Looks like Master crafted Thunderhammer, so it's got an extra damage, but it's all the normal rules. He's got everything else. So what we can also expect is that it looks like the rumors are true about his special abilities. Unto the Anvil, he adds 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by models in friendly Salamanders units while they're within 6 inches of this model, and if that model made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn. So you have to meet those conditions to get that +1 to wound roll, but that's pretty awesome, especially when you toss in Shock Assault. So I'm going to double check here. All right, so that was pretty cool. He has the Iridian Drakehide Cloak. When resolving an attack against this model, reduce the damage characteristic of that weapon used by 1 to a minimum of 1 for that attack. And then he has the Rites of Battle, which reroll hit rolls of 1, which I thought there was going to be reroll hits, not hit. Let me try that again. Reroll hit rolls of 1. I thought it was going to be reroll hit rolls, as we've been seeing in a couple other characters. But that looks like that's going to be unique to them and not him. For attacks made by models in the friendly units within 6 inches, pretty standard stuff. Another interesting thing that that probably confirms that Vulcan Heston is going to be in the Codex supplement, and he's not going to be making his way over to Warhammer Legends. So he might be a direct store, web store only model, but since he's in this codex and they only wanted models that were going to be in production, not being put made to order or anything like that, to Warhammer Legends, that means he's going to be around for a while. So that's good news. That's very good news, especially people like Vulcan Heston. I predict a lot of people might be taking an opportunity to get this model and do some tweaking with him, because he kind of looks like Vulcan Heston. I wouldn't be surprised if people put a flame gauntlet from the the aggressor kit on this right arm, and then take off this hammerhead and put a badass spear tip, even if it's Vulcan's actual spear tip, on this on his right hand. Just cut off cut off the tip. And now you got a Vulcan model, Primaris. He looks snazzy, looks sweet. In fact, I'm probably going to do that for the show. Look for that. In fact, yeah, I'm doing that. That's going to happen. That's happening. I'm going to turn this guy into Vulcan Heston. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is, of course, Torgaradon, and how that is significant for what I was predicting. Another thing that we had, it kind of threw me for a loop. We got confirmation that it's not just Torgaradon that's going to be in the book, but Captain Lysander and Pedro Cantor. So what is very interesting about this leak, before I get into Torgaradon, is that the Black Templars are not in this book. I was really surprised that the Crimson Fist were put in there. So that's interesting that they are put in there, because they had their White Dwarf release, so they put them in here. So that's kind of cool. Let's see if things like the Fist of Vengeance and a couple of their really cool stratagems make it into this book. That I'm talking about the Crimson Fist. So what do we know about Torgaradon? You might have seen the rules popping up online. I think I put it up on the FNP Wargamers page today, or maybe TJ did. One of us did. So you guys are looking at him right now, I believe. Let me make sure I got the right screen up. Yes, cool. All right, so Tor Garadon. Normal captain stats. He's got 7 wounds. Looks like he's running around in some very custom Gravis armor. He's got a grav gun, which kind of threw a lot of people for a loop. It's like, why a grav gun? Why doesn't he have his Spartan pistol? Well, I think, in fact, let me grab my codex. I wanted to confirm that. Give me 1 second. Sorry. All right. Here we go. All right. Let's look at relics here. See if that relic had made it into this codex. Or if I was just... No, it didn't. Interesting. Maybe... I don't know. Let me check one more thing. I'm sorry. I'm off screen. That's bad. That's just being a bad streamer. I'm sorry. I should have had this stuff prepared. I just thought about it. All right. So what I'm doing is checking for the Spartan or Spartian. Yeah, it's in none of the codexes or the supplements that are out right now. So that means it's probably going to be in there. So why doesn't he have the Spartan? Let's just call it the Spartan pistol. I imagine it's because he's in Gravis armor. And so he's going to need a bigger gun, something a little bit more worthy of being this siege captain. And hell, a grav gun is going to do a lot of damage. So, anyways, he's got his grav gun. If you're not familiar with that, rapid fire 1, strength 5, -3 AP, only 1 damage. But when you resolve an attack made with the weapon against a unit with a save characteristic of 3 or better, so watch out, Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines and anybody else with the 3-up. The weapon has a damage characteristic of a D3 for that attack. So watch out if you are running around with 3-up armor, because that weapon is going to shred you. Now, the other thing, I was kind of speculating on Sunday and then yesterday that they were going to turn his Power Fist that he's known for from 6th edition, from that Sentinels of Terra book, and they basically made it a relic, or they might have just given him a brand new one and souped it up. Now, if you look at the model, it looks like he is rocking some pistons on the back side of that image. And actually, I might play the video and turn off the sound and everything, and so you guys can see that. Anyways, now here's the key thing, and it'll be interesting to see if this gets FAQ'd. Maybe this was a mistake, but I doubt it, given the size of the Power Fist and those extra pistons on the back of it. So normal melee weapon, range melee, times 3 strength. So that means he is strength 12 with that Power Fist. -3 AP, 3 damage, and then of course -1 to hit when he's attacking with it. So he's only hitting on 3s, and I've seen some people complain about that. I'm like, big freaking deal. Who cares? Make him give him a chapter master upgrade. I think he can be made a chapter master with a couple command points, and then bam, now he's re-rolling all failed hit rolls. So who cares? So he's got an Iron Halo, Rites of Battle, the normal thing, re-roll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made. That's a normal thing. He's got a Signum Array, which is a pretty cool thing. At the start of your shooting phase, you can select 1 friendly Imperial Fist unit that is within 3 inches of the model. Models in that selected unit have a ballistic skill characteristic of a 2+ until the end of the phase. And I'm pretty sure that Iron Father Pharos, that we just saw a couple days ago, or last week, has the same thing. So that's going to be pretty brutal. Now, Siege Captain he has an ability when resolving an attack made by this model against a vehicle or a building, add 1 to the damage characteristic of the weapon being used for that attack. Jesus. You are probably with 5 attacks, 6 on the charge, and any other sort of buffs. You are going to be possibly dropping a knight in a turn, depending if they've taken some damage. So that is very cool that they've done this to him. Yeah, I'm looking at all of his little things. Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, and Mark 10 Gravis. Yeah, And he is rumored to be about 140, 145 points. Well worth taking, ladies and gentlemen. Well worth taking. That is an impressive model. I know the artwork on his face has a little less to be desired. There's some great memes going on right now, but it's not too bad. Not too bad. I really like how they put this model together. I mean, he is just solid. He is beefy. A little. I don't even know why I like this model so much, but man, he just looks. He looks beastly. So let me show that video of him real quick. Let me get the volume turned off here. That way I'm not. There we go. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do this large screen. All right, or not large screen, but full screen. So I've paused it so we could take a peek at the back end of this. So taking a look at this, look at that. Those extra pistons there. That man, he's got, what do they call it? The Fist of Doom from Hellboy. This thing that's probably is going to be ×3 damage. What I thought also was cool is that to kind of balance this backpack, so it's got this heavy power feed over here for that power fist, is they balanced it out with the basically the ammo pack for the Gravis gun. So that's really cool. This face leaves a lot to be desired, but hey, whatever. I'm really happy with the model overall. They did a very good job. I loved the crazy disproportion that they have on each side of him. I know a lot of people are like, he just looks silly with a normal fist over here and this big old giant massive siege fist over here, but you know, it really gives that model a lot of character and flair. I mean, it's what I expect from the Warhammer 40,000 universe. So, okay. So let me get on. You know, since I showed that video, I'll show this real quick while I get a couple things ready here for painting. Turn off the volume. Let's go ahead and do a really quick big screen here so you guys can see. Oh, look at me. I got fire. Rawr. I don't think that's what he says, but that hammer is pretty gosh darn nasty looking. And okay, so it's actually a very large thunder hammer, because up here behind his back is the pommel, I guess would be for the hammer, the base of it. So if you wanted to, oops, no, there we go. Stop. There we go. Sorry about that. If you wanted to, it would be a count as, but if you wanted a new Vulcan Heston, guys and gals, this would not be a very difficult conversion. In fact, I am going to do it, is to essentially cut off this left hand, probably right in front of the on this side of the elbow pad, and do your best to save this connection right here, this hose connection, all the way up to the base of the gun, and then get the flame gauntlet from a aggressor, especially if you have any of those aggressors from the easy to build sets, which are all just flame gauntlets, and convert that on there. You might have to heat this hose up a little bit, but you could probably plug it in. I mean, heat it up. That way you could bend it and poke it in, basically poke it into the gauntlet. And then you're going to end up having the Hand of Vulcan or whatever that flame weapon is. And then over here, let me see if I can back up a little bit. Sorry about this. Man, there. Then if you have the Vulcan Heston model, or just a really cool spearhead, you could probably cut off, if you can see my cursor right here where the power source, or basically the generator, connects with the base of the hammer, and put the spear tip there. And then you have an instant brand new looking Vulcan. Is it, the Primaris Vulcan that a lot of us wanted? No, but it would give you a badass looking model. You can probably put a different helmet on to, distinguish the two. And then of course get Agatone for the regular model and have a go at it. So man, that's a lot of character, and it's really awesome and satisfying that when we get it right on our speculating and trying to combine little bits and pieces about what our Mr. and Mrs. Smith are saying. So last thing that just dropped, we also mentioned that it's going to be a civil war between the Eldar factions. We don't know a whole lot of details, but sure as heck what is happening. Well, that is, we saw the new Incubi model. There's Banshees running around. And this is right here in the center is Jane Czar. And it looks like, as we predicted, she is probably going to be getting a brand new model. And that's probably Drazkar. He's that named Incubi badass for the Dark Eldar. He's probably getting a new snazzy plastic model. So a lot going to be happening. I was really surprised that they did a second Psychic Awakening. I was just talking about that yesterday, that I wish they would speed up the tempo of their Psychic Awakening releases instead of waiting every week for it to happen. Now, I think part of this might have got dropped because this image right here was getting spread around online. And Games Workshop might have gone, crap, we need to get ahead of this because we are trying to be the ones that leak the information. And they might have went ahead and launched this because they said on Monday that the next update was the following Monday. So really, really cool that whoever did this, whoever did the sneak peek or the leak, it might have forced GW's hand. All right, so enough of this. Let me switch over here. Let's see if this works. I'm going to watch my feed. Let's switch to main. Let me get rid of this right here. And I'm going to check my feed. Is that working? It should happen right here. So, and come on, machine. All right, let me get my improvised palette here. It is an Xbox video game case because I don't know where my regular palette is. Yay! All right, so this is a one of the Red Butchers from the Horus Heresy. This is an example model, and I'm basically going to do about 20 of these very similar to this. So looking at my time, I've got about, let's see what I can do in about 30 minutes. And I'm going to be using a lot of contrast paints. So let's see what we can do here. I don't have to go for Golden Demon level award winning, but I do, of course, want to do a good quality for the guy. I don't want to just kind of half-ass it. So what I'm going to start with is some of these are going to be really a test, and I might have to this first one actually is going to be a test 100%. I might have to use him, and if it doesn't look good, set him off to the side and go in with regular colors. So where is my contrast stuff? All right, so hopefully you guys are hearing me okay. I don't see anybody jumping on chat going, hey John, we can't hear you, you sound like garbage, whatever. Let me check chat real quick. And channel. And all right, chat looks good. All right. And volume is suppressed. Okay. So what I'm going to do is throw down a little bit of medium because I'm not sure how this is going to work. And then we are going to be using some contrast paint, Leviathan Blue. I'm going to put basically 2 drops of Leviathan Blue to 1 paint drop of, what do you call that? The contrast medium. So what I'm going to do, let's see here. So if I make any mistakes, it's going to be okay because I've got white paint around here somewhere. Let's see, is this my bold titanium white? What I'll be using to clean up, since this is all primed white, it's bold titanium white from the Pro Krill line from Monument Hobbies and Creature Caster. All right, so let's do, I'm just trying to match this model right here. Let's see here. So we're basically just going to put some blue in there, trying to keep it off those teeth the best possible, because I want to make all that red. And So, yep. This is fairly easy, and it's a little darker, but I don't think the client is going to care because it's going to look really sharp, and it also helps separate a little bit. And I can go in actually and brighten it up with some, once the paint settles, or once this contrast paint dries, I can go back in very easily and highlight it with probably some Calidor Sky. I think that's the blue that was originally used. Looking at that, that looks like probably McCraig blue and then Calidor Sky over it. So this right here does not look too bad. It actually looks pretty crisp for that contrast paint. So I'm actually going to stick with this for right now. And if later on he's like, you know what, nope, that's garbage, don't do it again, well, I'll just clean it up. It's not a big deal. I think he just, if I understood what he was saying, he just wants it done. He needs the models done by the end of the month. I am actually going to be aiming for the end of the week at my normal, or actually probably about a tier 2 quality, maybe closer to tier 3, just because I don't want to give him a bad product. But it's really, since it was kind of a last minute thing, as long as it was painted, is the biggest thing he cared about. So I'm just kind of dabbing in there, and I knew I'd be making mistakes. I already got a little bit onto what's going to be red, so the only thing I need to do with that is just hit it once it dries. Hit it up with that white paint, the Bold Titanium White from the Pro Acryl line, and call it a day. All right, so pretty easy. Finish the trim here, and really looking at the 3 examples I have for this model, with the exception of these shoulder pads, I've got a lot of creative freedom here to paint. But right now, the main thing is, let's see how many of these guys I can get with their blue. Looks like blue on the backpack area and maybe somewhere on the front. So do this right here. So that's one thing I like about this, about these contrast paints, is that they flow very nicely. They're very easy to go on. I mean, are they going to win you a golden demon? Are they gonna be instant magic for you? That, you know, you'll be an instant amazing painter that's going to be winning awards after awards after awards? No, because you still have to apply a lot of regular classical techniques, but it definitely will up your painting game, especially if you are not a type of person that wants to paint, like you are loath to paint, but you know you need to. The contrast paints are probably the fastest way to get your 3 color minimum and look really good. I mean, you can just throw on 3 colors and it's actually going to look it's still going to look good. Yeah, you'd really want to go back in and touch up and add some extra details, but to be honest, you can probably, you really don't have to, especially if you don't care, you just want your 3 color minimum. I'm going to do my best here. Sorry, I got to concentrate for a second. This little belly here, I've got a little bit of paint on those couple of those teeth right there, the belly plate, but that's all right. I think that's all I need to do for the blue. Yeah, so that did not take long to get that blue on there. So we're going to use this guy as my test model instead of continuing on. Normally what since I'm kind of trying to do a batch painting right now, or that's what I will be doing, I'm actually going to move past that and save that for another time. Right now, I want to go ahead and try to see what the rest of these contrasts are going to look like. Yeah, let's actually go ahead and get that Bold Titanium White prepped, ready. Get a little dab. I don't need much. One thing I like about these bottles is that, first off, it's a dropper bottle, and inside of it comes with 2 glass beads that are like agitators, and to help you mix up the paint, and it's got a twist cap. So you don't have to, whoops, you don't have to worry about taking the lid off, squeezing the dab out, and then losing the lid, which is something I've done before with like Vallejo paints. All right, so before I tackle, I probably should thin this out just a little bit. Before I tackle the red, I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick cleanup. Let's see how, yeah, because I only got a little bit on the parts that I didn't want to get it on. The blue, the Leviathan blue. But I got just a little bit on there, and it cleaned up pretty quick, or dried up pretty quick. So no worries there. A little bit, well, not worried about that part because that's going to be getting the gold treatment. Let's go in here. That's still wet, but you know what? Let's just try anyways. Yeah, that was a little stupid to do that, but whatever. All right. So before this contrast medium dries up, let's go ahead and get this Blood Angels red out. I wanted to actually do some Flesh Tears red, but I didn't have any, and I wanted to start this project today. So we're going to do a couple things we're going to try a couple things and see how this works. So I mixed one paintbrush load of the contrast medium and 2 of the Blood Angels red. It's kind of my standard to do whenever I'm using a contrast paint until I can kind of figure out what I want. Now this is definitely a brighter red than what we have on the other models, so that's okay. I've got 2 solutions that I'm going to apply. However, I need to be very careful here because this is red on white, and if I mess up onto any of the parts that I want to be white, that could be bad, because trying to cover up red over white or white over red, it's bad. It bleeds through, and you have to put multiple layers on. Actually, what you really need to do is go in and apply gray to the area, and then build like a dark gray, and then do some white after that. So hopefully you guys are following here. I'm not trying to teach you guys how to paint. I'm just showing you what the contrast paints look like. Make sure though, when you are I see what a lot of people do or mess up in the beginning when they're learning how to paint, is that they don't use their brush strokes. They go all over the place, which I've done before, and I've probably been caught on tape or on video doing that a couple times. But what the heck? Trying to figure out where all this settles here. Just be sure of your brush strokes. Just go in there, and if you mess up, man, it's paint. You can go back and clean up. But if you sit here and you tense up, and you've probably heard it on some of my other videos, you will get so much tension in your arms and your hands. First off, you're going to get a little worn out, and you're going to get sore, get some cramping going on there. But you're also going to mess up. Now here, son of a gun. Well, you know what? We're doing this however we want. So, probably should have did this in blue, but that's okay. And I'm actually going to, what I was thinking of, since I just kind of screwed this up in a way, I was thinking I was going to make this, sorry, it's hard to get the camera down there so you can see. I was going to do this jaw on here a gold. That's why I put the red on there. So, or bronze. So, since these are actually the same model, you can see that on this one, it's blue on center of the teeth there. I did red. That's okay. I'm going to go in and make that gold. They all need to look different. So let's go ahead and make sure I got a nice clean coat on there. It's going to take a while for that to dry. So what else needs to be red? Stuff on the shoulder pads. All right, so now I got to be very careful. I'm actually going to, instead of loading up my brush, I'm actually going to take a lot off. Now, this the trim here on the shoulder pad, I'm actually going to be doing that as gold. Same over here, but these the symbols here for the Legion number and the jaw on the other side, I'm actually going to be doing with the red. So I just got to be a little careful here. I don't need a load. Oops, that's okay. I don't need to load up my brush a lot. I just need a little bit on there, just so I can essentially trace the symbol there. I can come back in later, hit some white and hit a little bit of blue, hit some more Leviathan in there. So, all right, looking good, looking good. Just try to do that right there as I talk to myself. All right. So, that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right, so let's load that up on the other brush, or on the other side. We got this jaw here, where I cleaned up a little bit using that Monument Hobby, or the Creature Caster. I always get that mixed up. It used to be Monument Hobby. They've now teamed up with Creature Caster, so they're just one entity. I like saying Monument Hobby, and give them a shout out. Also, actually, I'm going to work on doing a raid here onto their Twitch stream that they do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Slow Fuse Gaming. Jen and Jason, who we had Ski and I had the pleasure of meeting in at what do you call it? LVO this year, and we actually, the channel partnered up with them, and we're really excited about that. We haven't done a whole lot with the partnership yet because we're still kind of getting our feet wet, but it's definitely been kind of fruitful. So, all right, so just a couple more spots I got to do here. Got another bunch of jaw stuff on his head there. So let's go ahead and do the red. I don't care if I bleed over onto the inner part of that, because that is going to be blue in there to be the world, since they are the world eaters. I'm not a big fan, though, of sometimes these Forge World models, because they don't have the exacting detail that I expect from, or that you can get from plastic models. All right, so side by side here, not too bad so far. It's a little darker blue, but not too noticeable. What I'll probably do with that red is, it looks like there was some Wazdaka red, or Evil Sun Scarlet was used as highlights on this. So I'll go back over that. So while all that is drying, let's go ahead and tackle a different color. Let's do some Black Templar. I'm just going to do straight Black Templar. I've already pre-loaded up on a couple of the joints on the models, on all of them, just because I wanted to play test it, or not play test it, but kind of mess around with it. So looking at his models, it looks like the handles were black handles. So I'm just going to very undelicately put on some Black Templar onto the grips, and do that on both sides. Trying to keep this in the camera here. Sorry if I'm not. So get that right there. Voila, perfect. So yeah, need to get up in there. Sometimes you just got to keep moving this model around, and I should be chiding myself for not using my paint handles. I bought a whole bunch of those GW paint handles, and I have not been using them. It's kind of stupid of me. It'd be a lot easier. So it looks like there's a little bit of a joint work right in between the vambrace and the fist. just right there. So we're going to add a little bit of Black Templar there. As you can see, once that dries, it's going to look just like the other one. All right, so it's probably time that we go ahead and start tackling the gold. It's still a waste of red here on my palette, but okay, that's all right. In fact, before I do that, let's go ahead and get some Leviathan blue. I'm not going to mix it up with the contrast medium. I just want to go ahead and very quickly and very delicately just kind of get it in there inside the world jaws here. Not world jaws, that's space wolves. I can come back in and clean this up later if need be, but right now it looks actually pretty good. All right, so it is time. Let's do the gold, because my next step I'm going to do on this guy is, since there's only a little bit of gold spots on here, well, it's actually brass or bronze, but I basically take this Retributor gold, I slap it on, and then I double wash it with Nuln oil. That brings it down almost kind of a coppery look. A lot of people like to go with I've seen the Druchii purple to give it, or the Reikland flesh shade to give it more of a natural, like rosy gold or gold. Even Agrax Earth shade to kind of have it with that, well, that red gold look. I want this to be kind of beaten down, worn out gold, almost brass looking. So it's just my own preference, and I could be using the wrong terminology. So let's keep this going. There's a lot of gold work, actually, a lot of small gold work, but it's a lot of places. So we're going to start with the shoulder pads, hit the collar and the torso, and then the leg plates will be last. So actually, I'm going to toss in a little bit of regular Lamian medium. Actually, it's a little too much on my brush. I don't need that much on there, just to help with the flow of the paint. All right. So we're just going to very quickly. That's way too much. It's way too much of that medium, but that's all right. That means I can move it around a little bit easier, have a nice flow to it. Now I'm okay with if I have a little paint overspill, which I already did on that Leviathan blue, because all I need to do is just come back over with that little bit of white once the gold dries, and hit it back with the Leviathan blue. So as you can see, this does not take long. I probably should not have put that medium in there, especially with the metallic, but that's okay. It's not hurting it. It's making it flow a little bit easier, but the next batch I will not do that. I like to get underneath all the little parts, because you never know what a judge is going to look at. And even though I don't have to get this to a Golden Demon standard, I still want to get all the little nooks and crannies for the guy, for Alan. I don't want to half-ass it for him. So, and he was very nice to, as payment. Normally I'll do I kind of undercut a lot of people, not on purpose, but just I enjoy painting, so I don't usually charge too much. But he was very nice and gave me, as payment, a Knight Cerastus, the Knight Castigator from Forge World, as totally unassembled, totally brand new. He wasn't using it and wasn't going to use it for his armies, so I got it as payment, which I'm all right with. That's a very expensive model, and it's about what you would expect from price-wise. Probably what I would probably charge him for doing these models, so or probably a little bit more. But I'm not going to be picky. I'm not going to be stingy. He was all right with this. I'm all right with this. So we are all right. All right. So doing good here. Now it's starting to dry up a little bit, and I want to Let's see. Dinner. Need lots of blood for the world eaters. Blood for the blood god. Yes, you're correct. Speaking of somebody that's probably going to chide me for painting somebody else's models when I'm supposed to be painting mine, Mr. Denner himself. Yep. All right. So, anyways, you know, I'm getting paid a freaking Imperial Knight from Forge World, so can't really complain too much. And I'm gonna have this done in about 4 or 5 days. I really have until the end of the month, but my goal is to get these done because I am so far behind on my own projects, not just painting projects but home projects. And I'm going to be doing some roller derby, not me roller derbying, but I'm going to go watch some roller derby on Saturday. In fact, I've got my shirt around here somewhere. Probably start wearing that on the show. All right, starting to run out a little bit of gold here. This gold likes to, where'd my gold go? This gold likes to dry up. You know what? You're right, but I think I will probably stick with that scheme, Denner. I just need another color to offset it. So I think what I'm going to do is it's going to come down to the basing. I've got two different basing ideas, and that's what's going to help me settle in on this paint job, because I really do like the paint scheme that I'm doing for my custom chapter. I do like it. It just feel like it's just a little too drab. So I think how to make it pop, it's going to come down to what am I doing with the basing. If I can do something amazing with the base that will help that color pop, I think that will solve my hang up. I'm hoping. Don't know for sure, but we will see. If not, I'll just start over again like I usually do. Play a Space Marine army for a while, get bored with it, sell it off, and start again. You would think after doing like almost 3,000 Marines, really, I would stick with one, but I just can't do it. I don't know what it is, but it makes a lot of people happy because they get fully painted armies, and I don't overcharge them for those armies. So they get, not only they don't have to worry about painting, but they're getting a good painted army, already pre-built, pre-painted, relatively cheap, definitely cheaper than what they would normally be getting charged. Starting to ramble there as I'm just going through this black or this gold because I want to hurry up and get it on here so it can hurry up and dry and I can get onto that next stage. All right. I think I've hit all the gold areas that nope. Need a little bit more gold just on the pommel of these axes. These are going to be really easy. We're just going to do a dull up there, come back and just basically get the rim. All jokes aside, just rim it. Get that rim. Get all the way around that rim. All right. I'm also going to go ahead and, since they like their brass, I'm also going to go ahead and do these. I forget what they're called armor wise, besides the elbow piece. And he's got this weird jaw thing going on here, so we're going to go ahead and get that a little gold as well. We're just going to have some fun with this. Make sure all the gold has some friends to play along with. I'm going to start sounding like Bob Ross here in a moment, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Bob Ross is or was the man. All right, so gold is on there. think what I'm going to do, we're experimenting here. Since I'm experimenting with the contrast, let's keep experimenting. I'd like to get this red to mirror that red. That looks like Known Oil was probably put over it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to see what just Carenberg Crimson looks like over it. I mean, why not? What's it going to hurt? I'll probably darken it up just enough and fill in the cracks and add some shadow and depth in there, especially for all the little battle damage that's on there. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. I mean, mind you, it's still wet, and I should have waited to do it over here because I just mixed in some gold. Dang it, why didn't you guys stop me? I just mixed in with some gold. Gotta let that leg dry. Get it over here. Let it get down to some of those cracks. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. That's probably the process we're going to use for the rest of these models, is just use a little bit of Carenberg Crimson over that to darken it up, and then I can come back through later once it's all nice and dry. I don't think he cares right now. He just wants the models done as fast as possible because he's going to some event in Seattle for Horus Heresy. So he just wants the models done. So he's going to have some, my own personal opinion, and toot my own horn here, some pretty damn good looking models. Now the one last thing I will do, since I'm going to try to get them done by the end of the week for him, is the one thing I'm not going to do just yet is go into all these armor plates and use some Known Oil to make those pop right now. My main goal is going to just get the color on here. Sorry, my hands are shaking. I just want to get all the color on here, get all the level of washes on there, and then I can go back through and do that other detail work later if I have the time. We'll see. I could just do a wash, a full Known Oil wash, but then that's going to end up doing more work for me. I'm going to have to bring the white back up. I would rather just go in with a very thin brush like this Games Workshop small layer brush and just essentially line in the Known Oil in all those cracks. I think it would work a lot easier. A little bit more time consuming, but compared to having to Known Oil wash the entire white model and then have to bring all those white panels back up to a white, I think that's more work. So all right, so just following his example, we're just going to keep slapping on some lead belcher here onto the weapon. We're going to do the top of the weapons first, and then we'll flip over and do the underside at the same time. No particular reason, it's just the process. You notice I'm just going one direction with the brush, and you're probably not seeing it, but I am rotating the brush every once in a while. That's what I like about these Army Painter brushes, is they're kind of like a triangular brush handle, and I can sit there and rotate, and I'll know that I'm at the next point, and I don't have to worry about the brush getting bent because I'm constantly rotating where all the pressure is going on them, if that makes sense. Because if you keep using your brush going in one direction, you guys have probably seen it, your brushes will bend and have this weird, well, as somebody very unsubtly put it, and this should not, I'm going to say something that might not be safe for work, so mute now. You have a bent dick problem, because your brush all of a sudden has this weird bend to it like this, mainly at the tip, because you keep painting in one direction. I'm sure there's a technical term. So just keep rotating that brush. And even it's a little bit harder when you have these round brushes, but if you use this, the lettering right here as kind of your starting point, or basically your basis, your starting point, you'll know, oh, I can rotate that to where the lettering is on my right side, rotate it down. Next time, rotate it to the left, rotate it back up. but it's just, that's why I like these Army Painter brushes, just because it's so much easier, because I know that with each, after each brush stroke, I can sit there and as I reposition my hand, I can sit there and rotate the brush again. Just keep rotating clockwise, counterclockwise. Just get yourself into a rhythm so you know what you're doing. All right. So need some more here. I'm really just doing this so I can give those washes and that what do you call it? The contrast paints a time to dry. I've got to hit this lead belcher anyways. There's a lot of, actually I'm gonna get just a little bit of Lamy medium. There's a lot of metallic areas on this model that I need to get. So let's go ahead and start getting there. And I'm doing something I've told you guys not to do, and you probably have heard before. This brush might be getting close to being ruined. Let me just see if I can clean some of this off. You want to keep, yep, I might have ruined this brush. Dang it. You want to keep the paint away from the base. You want to try to keep it up on the front half, because as the paint gets down inside those bristles, especially down inside the cavity here, that's where you'll get the splaying, where your brush will just kind of like look like what's that guy's name? Richard Simmons hair all over the place. And it could be easily avoided if you just take better care of your brush and not get overloaded with paint. You can overload the tip, but you don't need to overload the entire brush. It's very helpful in the long run. So what I'm doing here might not be easy to see because I'm still trying to figure out, get this camera right. Always will be until I take the time to do a little bit more research on this camera or better cameras. In fact, I do have a new camera already on its way. It's so I have done a little bit of research. It's a fish, I think it was I can't remember the name of it. I think it's fisheye camera. Basically, it's this massive 180 degree type camera that I can actually have displayed overhead and get some good quality zooming in on it. And I'd be able to have, it's a better quality camera that you'd be able to see this on what I'm doing right here, instead of me having this little tiny area here. You can see my whole paint desk, and it'll be good for when we're doing some gaming here in the near future, because I can get the entire table on there. So we'll see. I saw that there's a comment. I'll get to that in just a second, Mr. Denner. I want to get the rest of this paint on here. I'm trying to get all this lead belcher, because if you are not familiar with the World Eaters, they really like their change. Now, they're not like sadists, or maybe they are sadists. They're not, I think they would be sadists. They're not masochists like the World Eaters, or not World Eaters, but the Emperor's Children. But they like having chains all dangling around, I guess, to hold their skulls. They like skulls. They like to collect the skulls of their enemies. Blood for the blood god, skull for the skull throne, etc., etc. All right, just some dabs inside there for the turbines. Get these hoses painted up here. So you can see I'm going through this pretty fast. This, once again, just comes from practice. Doing those quick. Sorry if I'm not getting this camera right. Let me try that again. Just quick brush strokes, man. Just be sure of your brush strokes. Go in there. If you mess up, you mess up. Go back and fix it. But really, just go in, strike, and then get out. And then rinse and repeat. All right, I think. Nope, there's still some more chain stuff going on here. Because, God forbid they don't put chains everywhere. God, there's still more chains. This is almost like doing that gosh darn dragon I did for Warzone Houston I kept finding skulls everywhere. Here it's like, oh, there's a chain here, there's another chain link here. Screw this model. I hate this model already. All right, let's see here. Kyle wanted to do some snow-based themed Blood Angels. Yeah, painting, priming white. Yeah. Sorry, dude. That sucks. That really sucks. All right. Getting inside here. Once again, this is where that just being quick and sure of yourself whenever you're doing the brush strokes. I'm getting these little tiny areas in there, right down there in the nook and cranny of his of their helmet, back down there in the collar area, around the gorget, and just being zipping in, zipping out. Don't get crazy. All right, so we are almost done with the lead belcher. What time? Man, I've been at this for an hour now. Not that I have a whole lot of time, or not like I have anything else to do today with my life or anything, which is pretty sad when you think about it at the end of the day, but we're not going to dwell on that. Okay, so looks like we pretty much got all the base colors. That red came out pretty gosh darn close to his red. Actually pretty gosh darn close. Yeah, I'm digging that. Okay, so it is time to go ahead and apply some Nuln Oil to that gold. We're going to do our first layer of Nuln Oil to the gold. We're going to double layer because it does drop it down dramatically. And then if he wants me to, well, he's going to be doing the bases. What I'm going to recommend is that he uses a matte finish, which will will dull down that gold even more. So we're just going to, I know we're going to have a little bit of an overspill. The great thing about this, the Nuln Oil, with these shades, it is not as pigment heavy as the contrasts. So I can wick it back up and I don't have to worry about it staining too much. And actually, it doesn't hurt to get a little bit of that down into the paint, because it actually kind of helps enhances the overall effect and creates more depth and shadow that I intended. So once again, sure, fast brush strokes. You don't hesitate, just do it. You can clean up later. And it doesn't mean get all super sloppy and just start throwing paint everywhere. Still try to be precise, but just sure, fast, and simple. Get in there, get out. I'm going to go ahead and dab onto those pommels. Let's go ahead and get this, what do you call it? Elbow pad. I'm going to have to learn these armor names, so it sounds it's like I don't remember everything. All right, so get it in there. Get that gold going. And by applying this Nuln Oil over all this, I mean, it's really going to help enhance the, get down there in the cracks and really enhance the overall. Some people don't like to use it for some reason. They want to just use paints to create shadows and effects. That's fine. But it's so much easier, in my opinion, just to go ahead and use the tools available to you. So much easier. All right, man, this is actually starting to come out looking pretty gosh darn good, if you ask me. Starting to mumble a little bit there, and I apologize. I will start doing that when I'm trying to be a little bit more focused. All right, so you can see here, just being sure and fast, getting those brush strokes in there, so you don't want to hesitate. Remember, don't hesitate. Just get in there, get the brush stroke, get out, let the paint settle. All right, getting those little pipings inside those little turbines. Let that settle in there. And the last thing, let's go ahead and, not last thing, because I got to do that left leg I just saw. So, but while I'm here, let's go ahead and do the top of the weapons. All right, let's go down here, get this leg plate, which will help out because I got a little bit of a some of that red got mixed in with the gold when it was still wet, or vice versa. So by actually getting this in here, it's actually settling down there and doing a little bit of a color separation. It's kind of hard to see because I can't get the camera down into that to the right type of angle that I can see with my own eyes here, but it's not looking too bad. It's settling in there. All right, we're almost done with this gold or the known oil, except for all those joints and then the underside of the weapons. And I go heavy on this. You don't need to be light with the known oil, at least in this case. In this case, I don't have to be. You might need to on whatever project you're working on. Just kind of gauge it, do a little guesswork, test it out. If you get too much, the great thing is that it's so watered down that you could easily wick it up and clean it up. And get that into there. Bam. Get a little bit of the underbelly there. Get a little bit of the underbelly there. And and we are something I'm going to warn you about, so you don't get like coffee staining. Be very careful how your washes and even the contrast paint pulls up in some areas, because it will dry weird and it'll dry like a coffee stain, and you don't want that, because then you have to go back over it. You got to repaint it. All right, so look at that. Almost without doing all the paneling. Almost a match. In fact, I would almost say this one with the contrast looks a lot sharper. Yeah, I would say it looks a lot better than the one before. Oh, there's a couple spots of gold spots that I need to do in there, but still, I would say, you guys tell me, the one on my left, your left, our right, however you're looking at this at the screen. This is the contrast paint one, and this is the normal layer or regular Citadel paint line one. Pretty damn close, if I do say so myself. In fact, I really like this better. So he's probably going to get the contrast paint. And I'll have to go back and take a look at the timing, since we're just kind of tinkering around. There's still a lot more work to be done, but it looks to be I'll be able to knock out about 3 or 4 of these in about an hour once I start basically mass painting them, or not mass, but assembly line painting them, especially with how fast that contrast and everything goes on there. So not too shabby. I don't know. I don't know if Denner, if you're still on, what you think, but still a lot of work needs to be done on this. So get down there in the underneath the paneling to help separate it. But I think color wise, the contrast paint looks. I think the contrast paint looks pretty amazing. That's one over here on my left that I'm shaking up and down. That contrast paint I think is way better looking than the regular paint. It looks, I mean, that's some stark difference there. So I see I need to go in with do a little Leviathan blue. So in fact, you know what? I think why I'm here, and so I can just wrap up this model. That'll be the last thing that I do before signing off. Is I might just go in and knock out a couple of those panelings so you can see what that looks like. So let me grab this brush. Just a kind of a pro tip, I suppose. Whenever you get a brand new brush, wash it. Put it through the little bit of soap, your like Gentastic soap from Creature Caster is what I highly recommend. Wash it off. You do that before you start a new brush. Lots of reasons for it. I'm not going to go into every single bit of reason, but I would highly recommend it, and just kind of help prep your brush and maybe extend the life of it just a little bit. All right, so we're going to go in. I'm not getting a lot, and you can probably barely see it. I'm not getting a lot of Nuln Oil on this this brush. This is the small layer brush. I already tell I still have too much on there. And all I'm doing is just putting the tip of the brush up against the inside of the piece, and I'm just tracing. I'm sure there's a Chasing Amy joke in there somewhere. So instantly that panel looks automatically better. So we're going to do it over here. Get a little bit down in there. I always make fun of a friend of mine who did some work for Image Comics. I think a little bit of stuff for Marvel Comics. But his main thing was he was an inker. And there's a joke about, they don't, some people don't consider people that do the inking to actually be, artists are like, oh, you're just a tracer. You're just tracing. Hey, Texas Wargamer. So as you guys can see, I'm just slipping in. Oops, that's a little too much. Just wherever there is basically a line in the sand, and a joint or something that needs a little bit of highlighting, like right here. And the best thing to do is, like what I'm doing right now, is not overloading my brush with Nuln Oil. I just have a little bit on there so I could just slip into the cracks and just apply basically a thin line. I know it's easier to go in and, or some people think it might be easier for me to simply, do a Nuln Oil wash over the entire thing and then go back in and do white. I think this is actually a faster process and uses up a lot less paint than that. I could be wrong. Maybe I'll time myself one day, but I think this is a lot easier than having to paint a model white or prime it white and then go back over it, or go over it with the Nuln Oil to get all those recesses, and then have to turn around and redo the white, basically all the white paneling, to bring it back up to what you need. I don't know. I could be wrong. Somebody might have I might be missing something, but I think it's just easier to do it this way. And it could be taking a little bit more time, but I don't feel like it is. And even when these areas where I'm getting a little heavy-handed with the wash, where my brush is getting a little bit of an over on the white, I can either leave it like that, or I can go back and touch it up with some white. It's not a big deal. So it's not a big deal. Oops. One thing I hate, though, is be able to try to get these little cracks underneath here. Something I'm going to think about in the future, when somebody wants me to do something like this or paint some models, is tell them to leave the models off the bases, and I might just start doing the thing where you pin them to like a cork, like you drill a little pin, drill a little hole up through like the foot, and you basically pin it, and that way it's a lot easier to get to all those nooks and crannies. So I'm doing the knuckles, getting in between all the fingers. Sorry, this camera just does not want to stay focused. No, these are Texas. This is these models are Red Butchers. I think they're kind of cataphracty armor. I could be wrong. Doing them for Alan. He's got an event he's going to in a couple weeks in Seattle. It's a massive Horus Heresy event. You know what? We're just going to go ahead and screw this up here. There we go. Save the day. All right, so I'm also going in and just doing a fine line. Yeah, you can see that little fine line I did right there. It's a little crack in the armor. I just did a very thin line. I'm going to do that again up on top here. You can see, well, you might not be able to see that there's actual bona fide scratch marks in the model, and that's where I just put those lines. Just very, very subtly put them in there. Let's see what else. Man, I think that's really it. So I can see where there's a little bit of a bleed. I need to get some white and do a little cleanup here. I got this brush out so I can hurry up and wrap up the show here, because it's 8:20. It's not too bad. All right, so we're going to go in there and clean up a little bit of white. Not completely there in that cavity, but just enough to leave a little bit of the recesses there. And then we're just going to go ahead and repeat that process anywhere where I might have messed up and gotten a little too heavy-handed with the wash or my brush, and just kind of making sure to close that known oil before I knock it over and I have a spilled known oil incident. But also kind of go over with the white and clean up those areas where I got a little heavy-handed, which, since this white is a little bit more whiter than the primer used, it's actually going to, in a way, act almost as an extra highlight on the model. All right, let's see. I haven't been able to play as much as lately either. Been with work and personal projects or other people's projects, like this one. Too much white on this, so now I gotta do the whole thing white. That's all right. That's all right. White is always kind of a pain, because if you don't have matching whites and you mess up, it's going to look a little odd. Wish I knew what white was used for this primer. Might have been Corax white. All right, so you can see we're cleaning up, but by doing those the two different whites, it's actually kind of creating some highlights. I know that my light is washing out. Let's see if I can change the exposure a little bit. Oh, nope, other way. All right. So not too bad for about an hour's worth of work. That includes all the little areas. I still got some, I got some doodads that they always seem to have. But not too bad. I'm going to go in real quick here. Do I have any silver? Yeah, let's do this. Let's do something with these axes, and I'll fix up his other axe. I'm going to take some Rune Fang steel and shake it up a lot, because holy crap, there's some separation. All right. Well, actually, Texas, this blue and the red that you're seeing on here and the black is actually contrast paint. Show you a real quick difference. So the one here in this hand, that's contrast paint, Leviathan blue and Blood Angels red. And then this is, I'm thinking, Calidor sky and probably Mephiston red. So this is the basis, and this is the new one that I'm using. I like this contrast better. It looks, to me, it looks amazing. And I can go in and just do some basic highlights with maybe some Wazdaka red and a little blue later on if need be, and to enhance it. But I got to get through about 20 of these models before I even worry about doing some highlights. I want to try to have these models done by the end of the week for him. So, all right, so we're just going to, just on the edge of this axe, just the edge, we're just going to add in a little Rune Fang steel. Why not? Helps make that axe pop a little bit more. Yeah. Helps that axe blade pop a little bit more. Get the backside here, the pick. Then Get the underside. The underside doesn't have too much of the curve that the other side does, so that's a shame on the sculptor. He didn't do a very good job of making basically creating the same effect where the blade is. But you know what? When you look in the light, two different shades of metallic there, and it helps really enhance that the feel for the axe. And if I had my painting handle, I would not be dropping my brush. Spent all that money on those damn painting handles, and I'm not using them. Alright, so we're just quickly going through here. This will be the last thing I probably do. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, because I think I got a subscribe button up there now. If you're an Amazon Prime member, well, make sure you hit follow if you don't want to subscribe. If you're an Amazon Prime member, monthly you get a free subscription through Twitch. So please subscribe to us, unless you got another fancy channel. But we are increasing our content videos, if you guys have probably noticed. And we got more coming. We got more equipment coming, especially thanks to our Patreon supporters. And we're going to be doing a lot more content video. I'm going to be doing a couple, probably in about 2 weeks, as long as everything goes okay. In about 2 weeks, we are going to, or I am going to be making a series of, I think it's 4 or 5 videos that it's going to walk you through each phase of Aeronautica Imperialis. I know a lot of people are still on the fence about that game. I was too, till I bought it, kind of on a whim, and instantly amazed at that game. It reminded me of when the game came out originally in 2007 from Forge World, and then a few years later, just in case anybody wants to say, oh, they're copying X-Wing, they're not. X-Wing came out in 2012 or 2013, I think it's 2012, and Aeronautica Imperialis originally came out in 2007. And even though X-Wing had a lot of IP behind it, it was kind of better positioned to explode onto the scene. A lot of their rules, a lot of the things that they have in there are very similar to Aeronautica Imperialis. Almost, I would say, copied and paste. So, not saying that, they stole the idea, but they stole the idea. Anyways, so I went in and just kind of fixed up his model, give it that shiny axe. So, top to or left to right, this is with contrast, mainly contrast paints, except for the gold and the lead belcher. Kind of shinied up their axes. That red is almost an exact match. I would say this red is better, the Blood Angels red with the Carenberg Crimson wash over it. That blue is the Leviathan blue, and of course that is the gold I used, Retributor gold with a Nolan oil wash, lead belcher with a Nolan oil wash, and white was kind of cleaned up with the Monument Hobby, or the Pro Acryl, wherever it is here, bold titanium white. And it's kind of hard to see, but in the recesses here, all these joints like this, and in the hand and on the hand guards of the axes, I use Black Templar contrast paint. These models are going to paint up really fast with this contrast paint, I'm telling you right now. Oh man, an hour and a half on this video. But this was just really a test run. We wanted to see what this looked like. And actually, one last thing here before I sign off. Get some more white on my palette here. My Xbox game palette, since I don't have an Xbox anymore. It was perfect. I don't need the case anymore. I'm going to clean up the white here and there, especially here on the feet. That will help make them stand out a little bit more. And then, of course, it's going to all get kind of washed out, I think, once the basing material is done. I need to find out, I'll probably have to look at, see if he needs me to do the basing or not. If so, that might delay him getting it this week. He might have to wait a week because it's going to take me the rest of the week to finish the painting. So, all right. Well, cleaned up. Looking, gosh darn, man, this... I am really happy with this. Holy crap. Good job, contrast paints. Good job. All right. Well, I hope Alan is going to be happy with this because I'm going to be blazing through these models with this. So, and I've got a lot. I'm just going to kind of, let me get my palette out of the way here. So I've got this big pile of models to do by Friday. Oh, and I'm going to be doing it all with contrast paints. It's like 22, 23 models. Wish me luck. So I'm going to sign off because it's late and I've been streaming way too long. I might do another stream tomorrow, even though it's not scheduled, just because I'm going to be getting off early because I'm doing inventory for the store. So I might go ahead and do, in fact, let's look at a 7 o'clock show tomorrow where I will be doing, let's do batch painting for these models. Why not? Why not? Let's do show you batch painting with contrast paints. I'll do a set of 5 models. We'll time it, see how long it takes me to do start to finish for 5 models. And we'll do it, live stream it. And yeah, we'll do that with using contrast paints and a couple other little paints here and there. So, all right. Well, thank you all for getting on, Denner, Texas. I really appreciate it, gents. Everybody else that's watching on our YouTube. Whenever I upload this to YouTube, I really appreciate it. For those of you that are watching this in the background, thank you so much. Make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Don't worry, Ski and Ben, TJ, and Jonathan will be back on in the near future. School, projects, family, a lot of things are going on. So right now, me by myself with, man, I don't even have a dog or a cat. I've got a lot of free time. So you guys will just continue to be putting up with me. And I really appreciate you guys putting up with me. It means a lot to me. So make sure you get your friends and family just to jump on and follow. We're almost to partner level. I think we've got almost everything knocked out for partner level except for an average viewership of 75 people. So I might be doing a contest in the near future. Probably, let's say this time next week, or 7 o'clock show next Thursday. I'm just going to announce it next week. So on Sunday show, Tuesday show, and then Wednesday show, I'm going to come up with a contest, and we're going to get 75 people on the stream at one time, and we're going to do some giveaways. I've got, since I moved, I'm not doing Mixer and I'm over here, I've got 20 boxes of Infinity and Malifaux and Games Workshop product that I'm not going to use, and it's all new in box, and I want to give it a good home. We want to get our viewers up. So watch our show on Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. So I'm going to announce a contest to get us to 75 viewers. All right. So you guys all have a good night. I really appreciate you watching. Get to painting.